What's going on, guys? Hippos here with a quick tutorial on how to do something like this, like in Substance Painter. And what I've done here is I've actually gone ahead and basically modeled this thing as I've seen it here. Okay, essentially, I can't really tell what's going on. I invented a bunch of things. I redesigned it a little bit, but for the most part, I've kept it pretty okay and close, like I said, for the most part. I am actually going to create this as two completely separate materials, meaning that I'm going to have one with just tiles, and then I'm going to have one with just the one piece, or maybe with tiles on it too, so I can do a little bit of adjustment around here on these particular tiles here, because the idea is that this symbol is to be located in the center of a large room. Around that will be nothing but these tiles. The rest of the floor will be these tiles, but in the center of all of that will be this symbol, as if it's like a button. And the final result here is a material, not a mesh. We're not going to create a model for this. We're not texturing this in Substance Painter and making it, you know, an object that's going to be in the room. It's going to be on a flat ground. So we need to try to use everything in our power to make it look as good as possible, including parallax occlusion mapping if possible. So we'll see what we can get here. We do happen to have a 3D model, which happens to be quite handy. So what I'm going to do here first is I'm just going to get rid of this one here. I don't really need to see this anymore. I kind of remember what it is now. And what I've got back here is an actual tiling plane. And by tiling I mean every face is mapped UV 1:1. So they're all sharing the same UVs. So if I were to create something on this inside of Substance Painter, I'll get some cool stuff. Now there is a thing that you can do inside of Substance Painter itself. Normally, what I normally do is I bake the normals on something like this onto a flat plane. I usually do it here in Max, and sometimes I'll do the in this case we're going to need an ID map too, because we don't have geometry. We're not going to have geometry. All we're going to get are the pixels. So what's going to end up happening is we're going to need to make sure that these things have IDs so that we can use them to create our mask. So we need this basically laid out in a diffuse method, which also means I'm going to need to split this piece here, at least the color of it at the very least. So if I isolate this here and I take a look, I'll just grab this point, turn that into faces, and then grow it. And I actually need to grow one more time because I have a support loop there, like so. And I can either detach this, which I don't want to do because I like the blend, or I can give it a second material, and I'm going to give it a second material, and at which point I'm going to give it another color here. So I'll make that just like a blue, or purplish blue, or straight up blue, and we'll assign that there. Then we'll go Control I, and we will pick a gold, and we'll assign that. Now I don't think that I'm actually going to be able to use these colors. Let's just have it for here for now. I think I might have to split these to get it to work, because if you notice here, I got a bunch of these objects named _high all over the place. The fact is that you can use the individual mesh names inside of Painter to distinguish things, and you can actually Painter will, which is cool, recognize that these are separate objects, all put into one FBX, right? But they're still separate objects, and you can create an automatic ID from it. So the question is whether or not this piece having two materials is going to count, and I don't think it is. And I do need the trim, because if we look at my reference, there's a definite separation between trim and what is clearly some kind of aqua color underneath. I'm assuming matching this tile. You can see it bleeding in between all of these areas. I'm assuming this is shadow. I'm assuming this is shadow, but behind that is aquamarine, or whatever color you want to call that. And so this is separate from the frame. So I'm not sure how that's going to work yet. This one here. Okay, so I'm just going to do this, and I'm actually going to grab my ground here, and the ground I want to make sure gets good lighting and everything. So I'm going to grab these real quick and inset them very, very slightly at 0.04. Okay, and then I'm going to give everything one smoothing group, and I'm going to weight the normals. Okay, I'll just convert that down. We'll take a look from the top. I think the normals will be okay. They're going to be more dramatic in some parts. I did put noise on the heights of each of these. I may have overdone that a little bit, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to select all these things. They're all here in the world. I'm going to move them down, but not past the 0 point at any point. Okay, just going to leave it like that. I could actually squish them a little bit like this to make baking a little easier, because I'm going to be baking just in the Z anyway, but I'll keep it like this and we'll see what we get. I think it'll be okay. This one back here, I'm going to need to be, it's going to be kind of tricky, because like I said, I want to get two materials out of this thing. But for now I'm only going to worry about the one with the sun in it. Creating the one without the sun is going to be pretty easy. I just need to create another plane with a different material. So we'll grab all of these things, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw an edit poly modifier on top of them all, which should actually basically give me like a 20,000 poly object, which is not that high or anything. So I'm just going to leave it like that, and I will export selected. I don't really know what to call it. I'll just call it like some kind of sunstone, and we'll call this HR. Okay, save, and I will say okay. Alright, now what I need is a plane that is going to match up with that perfectly, and I actually have one here. If I come in, grab that, and just clone that to an object. Okay, I'll just get rid of that. And what I'll call this is like my bake target or something. And we'll call it underscore low. Okay. And I'm going to effect the pivot and center it, and then move it to world 0. And I will export that, and I will call that bake target. LR. Actually, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Save. And I'll hit OK. And then I can actually grab this big guy here, which is a tile, has tiling material on it, and export that, and I'll just call this tiling plane. And we'll hit OK. And let's go into Substance Painter 2, just like that. Give that a sec. Okay, here we are. We will go File, New, and select, and I will say my bake target for now, my LR bake target. And I'll keep the resolution at 2048 for now, and I'll just hit OK. Now when it opens, it doesn't look like there's anything there, but it actually is, as long as I rotate. So we come here, and now what I want to do is, I already have height here, so I'm going to bake textures. And what we're going to do is pick the high res mesh. Okay, you can see underscore high, underscore low. I actually did that with caps. I don't know if that matters. This is going to have to be adjusted right here for sure, but we'll see what we get. Okay, so we definitely want full resolution here, which may take a little while, but that's okay. We'll go through each one of these. Let's just check everything here. Nothing else really we need to do. We'll keep anti-aliasing 8x8. We want this as high quality as possible. We won't average the normals. Yeah, I don't think we want to average the normals, but I don't know if it affects how the rays come in from the high-res mesh. It shouldn't. This is just a flat plane. But like I said, I believe the max frontal distance is going to need to come up significantly, but we'll see. World space, ID. Okay, so for the ID, the color source is going to be the mesh ID, okay? And the color generator is going to be random colors, okay? Because this is actually generated off the high-resolution mesh. Ambient occlusion has a lot of stuff here, but not going to worry about that. In this case, self-occlusion actually wants to be on because everything is just static and it's all crisscrossing over itself, so we want all that. Curvature should be fine. Every once in a while you want to lower this. Sometimes it gets crazy. I've never known what this is supposed to do. Position, we really don't need that in this case, so I should actually be able to uncheck it. And thickness, I'm actually going to keep because it comes off the high-res mesh. And I'll just keep position anyway, so we bake everything. So we'll just see what we get first. I'll pause it in the meantime. I'll show you what we get, and I'm going to be honest, I don't think it's going to work out too well, because I do believe that this needs to come up, but we'll see. Okay, here is the result, and as I thought, it's pretty much off. So one of the tricks that we can do to make this a little bit faster would be first to only do the normal, and second, do it at something ridiculously low level here and see what we get. So let's take the max frontal distance up to like max. Okay, so we're getting a little bit somewhere here now. Alright, there we go. Basically, I think that actually took care of everything. So if we do it now at a full-blown 4096 all the way up, everything else should be okay. I think it's pretty clear. So like I said, I was just right here because remember, this is just a plane that I have, so I've got to push that way out. Now if this wasn't enough, there is a fix. You can actually create a cage file from here, which is essentially like a kind of like a morph target in a way, that you could tell, you can say, hey, it goes up this high, and you can export this as another mesh and use that as the cage file, and that gives it the distance. So like I said, if one wasn't enough, then that would work. So I'm gonna go ahead and bake the whole thing again. It should be fine now with all of this stuff on. It did take actually a long time to fail that first time, so like 15 minutes. It's a really long bake, so let's not make any mistake. I'm actually going to sit back and watch Attack on Titan a little bit more, so I'll do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so these are the results that I have eventually come up with, and I say eventually because I want to make a couple of statements. Something is crazy and I don't know what it is quite yet. It might be the way I'm doing it, but I absolutely, under no circumstance, could get ambient occlusion or thickness to bake at 4096. They both crashed every time. I don't know what it is. It might be because, so you can see I dropped thickness and I actually did ambient occlusion down. My guess, I haven't done enough testing because it took me 24 hours to figure that out alone, is that I think I had this still on, so maybe this needs to be off. I don't know, something crazy happens. It just stays at 0% and hangs forever. It never goes through on either one of them, so I had to bite the bullet, and ambient occlusion and thickness are only 2048. But however, everything else came in pretty clean here. Okay, it ain't too shabby. I'm only at 2048 viewing this, and it looks pretty good to me. But here's where things get pretty interesting as well, because we have a couple of cool things. We got this color map that actually is working out pretty good. You can see that out here in the main tiles that it's just green around my border. Notice how that's just flat green? That's because I never went in and swapped the materials. But you will notice that if you, it's kind of hard for me to show, but the difference between this trim and the background, the way that I split it up with the materials, did work. That did come through. Look, the trim is pink and that background is like a light blue. wow, I didn't think that that would actually work, so that's quite pleasing. And now really all we got to do is I can just kind of just start picking materials. I can build them myself, but for now, just for the sake of this, let's just go here and, you know, pick some kind of like bronze or something. Bronze might not be good. I'll go with copper worn, and I'll just drag that up. Okay, and you can see copper warns over the whole surface of everything, and it looks quite beautiful, but it's nowhere near as cool as what we're about to do. After that, we're going to say take the gold, and we'll stick that above it. Make sure it goes above, not into it. And we're going to right click, add mask with color selection, and we're going to say pick color, and we just click right there. And now we've got gold. And now we want a glass visor, because that seems like the right thing to put in there. Right click, mask with color selection, pick color, click. Oh, it's getting deeper. Gold armor. I think there could be more gold in here, so I'll just pick this color too. Right? I feel like there could be something else here. Iron old. Iron old must have a use. We'll see. Right click, mask with color selection, pick color. I happen to have this little trim object right there. Right? Ooh, it's getting cool. Okay, I think this should be gold too, so I'm going to actually add another color. I'm going to make that gold as well. Okay, and one more. Some kind of concrete-ish type thing is what I'm looking for. Concrete dirty. And once again, color selection, pick color, boom. And I'm pretty much close to done. Now I did, like I said, I screwed up the thing here, so in order for me to fix that, I'll just go through it really quick. So basically what I need to do is come back in here, into Max. I'm going to pop open the materials here, and what I'm going to do is, I don't think the names of these matter, but just in case, I'm going to change the color and the name on each of these. Okay, so what I'll do here is I'll make this green by assigning it, then I'll hit Control I, and I'll get the opposite faces, and then I'll just pick the red one and assign that. And when I come out, you can see now I've got those materials assigned. Close that down and grab all this. So this one's a double material, and it worked, so I'm going to assume the same. We'll come here and I will just export again. Okay, so I basically saved that out, and then what I would do is I come back here, ID, and mesh ID random, we'll keep that. I don't know what that's, if it's going to randomize it again and then screw my colors. I kind of think it is. I expect it to. We can do 4096 on this, though I am going to pause before this starts, and I can kick this back up. I had turned some stuff down to try to see if that was the reason why ambient occlusion and thickness were not just going through, but nothing really worked, so I just lowered it. Okay, as we can see, good news and bad news. Good news, it clearly picked up the tiles on the outside, so changing the materials, that's working pretty nicely. I'm glad that comes through. Bad news is it did give it new colors, which makes sense, and I lost my stuff here. So you can see that I need to come in, I need to basically remove the colors that I've got on these guys now, because it's not doing anything anyway. This one, I don't think I had. So the concrete, I just click there and I just go through. The iron was this trim right there. Nope. Right there. Okay. And then this was the gem. This is gold, so we can get rid of all of these. There's going to be quite a few. Roughly about like that, I would say. and then the copper is underneath everything. So the copper essentially would be where I would do now officially my tiles. But what's cool is I can fiddle around with it, I suppose. The other thing that I should do is, to be honest, where's the ground? Tiling ground high. Let's isolate this. What I should do here, and this is actually, like, I should actually do this, like that. And make those every other, right? Before I go too far into this any further. Like that. And then I get every other. So now I can distinguish their colors easy, right? What a... Oh crap, hang on. Is that selected still? Yes. Oh, I just gotta grow it. I forgot to hit grow, that's all. I missed the trim there. That would have given me some pretty nasty, some grody results. Get it? See what I did there? See what it did it come through? Alright, alright, I'll rebake that and I'll be right back. However, baking does take like 10 minutes on this ID thing, so it actually takes a while, so yeah, it's weird. Okay, so I rebaked it. It did separate the tiles, as you can see down here in my little preview. I haven't done anything with that yet, though. What I did do was fix the color association, because yeah, it got broken again, and it'll do it every time. It's fortunate that it's quick, and so it is a good time to, you know, as you do these, just to make sure that you cover all your bases. Right? I kind of forgot I needed to swap the colors on these things, so just know that, you know, when you come back, that is part of the pitfall. If you do end up redoing it, you know, you get this here. I think, however, I'm not entirely sure, but there's a small possibility that if you assign all of these things materials, that it'll give you the same color every time and not be random. Let's actually let me explore that really quick, because color source mesh ID, see, hue shift. See, I don't know how that works, you know. I don't know if that's going to be consistent every time or not, because well, I guess material color. Oh, let's see. Hang on. It was saying what it was. It's giving me. Okay, I'm not going to touch anything. Reads the vertex color. Material. Reads the material color from the high definition mesh. Works only for FBX files. That's what we want to use. Then it won't reassign this anymore. That's what we want to use. Assigns of color per object from the high definition message. Okay, per definition. So material color, yeah. So everything has to have a material. Some of my objects in here, they're not colored by the material. They're colored by their object color. They don't actually have materials. So I would have to assign them all materials. So that would be the downside, I suppose. But again, it'll give me consistent results. So just a suggestion, you can just assign very basic materials here. You don't have to actually bake that here in Max. Just know that. The Painter does a pretty goddamn good job of doing it here, as you can see already, right? I haven't baked anything in Max yet. That is actually not entirely true. There's one thing that I don't know how to bake in here, and that's the height map. And I did bake that in Max. Let's go ahead and get the different colors here. Copper base. Let me dupe this one. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to dupe that. So I'm going to call this tile 1 and tile 2. Alright. Add mask with color selection, and we will pick one or the other. And this, as you can see where the difference is now. There. always at the point where you cannot tell if it's blue or green. That's, well, I'm not going to call it what I normally call it. No, I am. I call it gay green. It just rhymes. So it doesn't mean anything. Do I want that on there? Do I want it dirty and scuffy? That's fine for now, but I need to make the tiles down here way more of a red. Yeah, they are. They're closer to orange. I'm gonna go into base color here. Something like that. Alright. Yeah, you know what? I don't like the way I've split this up at all. This is unorganizingly bad. This isn't good. I'm actually going to copy that mask. Well, can I do that? No, it's got the color selection. Yeah, no, I can do it. Copy mask. And then what I'll do is take this over that, add a black mask, Control Shift V is paste into mask, and now I've done the color, and I can get rid of that entirely. And now I just have these two affecting color. Actually, let's only have them affect color. Alright, and let's get rid of those. Alright, so we're going to need a material on top of this, and what I'm going to do here is do a little bit of a cheat, and the reason is because what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up going through and I'm going to start cycling through a bunch of materials, and I don't want to affect the base color on these materials. So let's just see what happens really quick. So I now have a fill layer, but I don't want to mess with the color. And let me go and pick like brass. Brass just turned color back on for me, which is irritating. However, it's a setting. It's red from the material which are supposed to be turned on. I have a glitch with all of my custom shelf materials are all just showing. They for some reason they never have anything on but the normal and the height. I always have to turn everything else on. I don't know what's wrong with that, but it's kind of frustrating because the preview I get here sucks. I can't use it. I have to go by the names entirely. So, whatever. But what I'm going to do to cheat is I'm going to make a folder here, and I'm going to stick this in the folder, and then on the folder base color I'm going to disable. Now, no matter what I do to this, whichever one I pick, I'm only affecting the underlying material. Okay? And let's see here, that height, that's underneath everything. Okay. What I'm going to do, the thing is that all of these, if we look at the height, it's probably set to, they should just all be normal. Normal. However, inside, a lot of them are still set to linear dodges and things, and I don't want to go through that. It's going to affect how they blend to each other. So, even though I've set the master thing out here, it doesn't really do me any good. I think maybe I can do pass through, or I thought it would be replace. I'm hoping one of these will actually be correct, that I need to set on the folder. Let's see, let's go to the gem, that would be here, and pass through, no, normal, no, is there override or something? Replace, it would be what I would have assumed, but disable, yeah, it's just going to get rid of it. So, yeah, what we're going to do is just mask this, which is easy, so just color selection. I just need both tiles, so that one and that one. Alright, and now I've isolated it fine enough. It's not like I couldn't work around it, but yeah, I kind of wish that there was a way for the smart materials to have this, you know, when you're dealing with height, there needs to be something in the folder that says, hey, take just, you know, only deal with what's inside this folder as if it's its own completely by itself, you know. That's kind of how it should work. Like I would say replace should do that, but it clearly didn't. So whatever. That brick's probably not good. So come here, and this is the, so what this is going to be is this is going to be the tiles material basically. This is tile 1 color, and this is tile 2 color. Okay, so we hide that, you know, we can swap. Alright, so I thought I named that. Damn it. Tiles material, enter. Okay, alright, now I can start picking stuff. I don't know if I want bricks so much. I didn't mind that other brick. I mean, it could be added with some other stuff too. That wouldn't be too bad. It's actually kind of handy in this case that my glitch is here, to be honest, because I'm only looking at the bump map. No. I don't want any kind of even brick. That's the thing. I don't want this texture to be man-made. I actually kind of want to try amethyst, to be honest. I don't hate that. We can mess with the UV scale. I don't think that does anything. This is that. Let's see, depth. Oh wait, that did have something. That did do something, didn't it? No? Nah, it's not doing shit. Relief balance? Some of these are kind of irritating. They don't have like a, you know, like a way to adjust the height value. Like even when you turn off, you know. It's something's changing, but it ain't that. So what we can do is we can just throw a levels and tell levels to only affect height here, and then we can easily just pull out one or the other to lower it. So if we want to make it really subtle, and we can shift its height range to however we want, so we can push it more towards low and flat. So this gives us a lot of ability to add things on top. Doesn't give us a lot of ability to cut out though, so it might be better to say go somewhere in the middle. That way you can add or subtract. So even though it looks the same, it's not. Okay, and we'll just leave that at that. It's not too bad so far. I do have a bit of a miss right there. I think I don't think I don't think that my rebake actually I didn't do it the second time. So, but you know what? If you see here, you can see that between all of these, that we start getting some scary things here, such as white strips around things. That does have to do with the fact that we are dealing with pixels, but it can be negated some by, for the most part, giving yourself a new fill layer, and I'll put this all the way at the bottom like that. Okay, and we'll make the base color black, as you can see. So as you can see, we can see it underneath there, right? If I go red here, you know, I got like a red border around everything, and it can start showing up quite a bit. So there's some stuff that you can do. Let's say we're looking at the gold here. There's some stuff like tolerance where you can start pulling these things out to help, okay? But you do have to understand that you get a little bit of bleed. It'll start bleeding outward. But that is in fact what you want to do. So just kind of do that until here. Hardness can be turned down, actually, if you wanted a softer blend. So there's stuff we can do here. So I'll go through it a little bit and try to get something nice. Did I hide or move something? Did I? Tiles material too. I lost this bronze part. Oh no, that was actually because I took it for this. Okay, so I still need to find a material for that. That's fine. So this is actually just going to be tiles. Okay, and we'll grab another smart material, and I want some very darkish, dark type of metal. But not wood. I mean, would be interesting. Get it? It would be interesting. What would? Wood. Well, okay, I'm just going to tweak bronze armor. So we'll throw that in between there. And we will... That didn't end up anything. I think it's just waiting. Okay, there it is. Alright, so we'll add the mask with color selection. And we'll just pick right there. And I'll just tweak it inside now. Dummy. Is that... Did I make this? I'm the only kind of person who names my layers like, hey, dickhead. You know, like, I'll do that. But it actually does remind me of things. Uh-oh. What's going on? Oh, I know what I did. I forgot to collapse my high res. I baked a low res for the ID. See that? I actually did. I baked a low res version. I didn't collapse my subdivisions. Okay, interesting. I'm interested to see. Look at the difference here. You can see that I, clearly screwed it up. I can fix it no problem, but I'll just have to do that off camera. All of a sudden it'll be fixed for you guys. But yeah, that's interesting. It did swap the IDs, which sucks because I'm going to have to pick them all again. But I am going to also, when I fix this, I'm going to go in and I'm going to assign all materials so that I can stop dealing with that when this kind of thing happens, when I make this kind of error, because that was an error, right? I just forgot. So, but I can move on forward from there. I'm not going to worry about it for now. Oh well, it looks crappy for now, but don't worry. All of a sudden it'll be fixed. Okay, so yeah, I don't know what layer dummy's doing. I think it means it's just a dummy layer that's sharpening what's below it, because it's just sharpening everything. So if I turn that off, it gets a little fuzzier. You can actually tell. Yeah. And sharpening is a good thing to do on metallic surfaces, because it changes some of the stuff, and soft stuff is just less convincing here. It's actually, even though it's pixel looking in a way, when you look at real chips and cracks and stuff on metal, they do come off in like little triangles and little squares and little rectangles and angular surfaces. It does chip and get damaged that way. That's how it works. So it's not a bad thing to get some sharpening in there. I just want to make sure that it's darker. Okay. Surface details. Base. Okay. Dirt. AO dirt. Edges. Okay. Edges, base, color. I don't like that, so I think I'm going to go with overlay. I like that more. I want that dark. Alright. This is going to have to take on the teal color. So let's grab that layer that's creating that. Copy that. And we'll find that concrete up here. And just right above that, I will paste that layer. And I'll remove that mask. Remove the mask. Where is it? There we go. Okay, and I'll just turn, yep, only color, and I'll make that be multiply. Now it looks pretty good. I actually like that color more than I like that color. Which means which one? That one. Yeah, why don't I just use that? You know? And then it's universal. I like it. Alright, my gem is more of a peach color, so I'm going to rename that to Gem, and then I need to get like a marble or something on it. So base color, it's, you know, I'm not sure about the metallic aspect of it. I really don't think that it would be metallic, so yoink. And I want that off peachy. Right about there. There we go. That's pretty. Okay, and then glowing edges. Are you doing anything? If not, alright. Let's grab a new material. I'm going to come up here. I don't know what to call it yet, but let's just get some kind of marble. I do have to turn these things on, which is annoying every time. That's not good. These all have these crazy crack amounts. I'm looking for merely a cool pattern. It's not bad. It's got some swirl to it. And I can further enhance that with a generator. Not a generator. Filter. And we are looking for, I mean, we could do weird stuff like histogram stuff. I tend to try things like warp. There's going to be a jet flying overhead. I'm going to mute. Yeah, okay. So as we increase this intensity and the blur, we can get to this hopefully balanced point. It's kind of hard if you don't blur it. See how we get a very like watery look now? Like that's like ocean ripple. I don't want that. So we need some blur in there. We can get some of these things. And there's a tiling. I actually want it to be way lower, like that. Intensity divider, by the way, as soon as you take this down, makes things go very crazy, as you can see here. Now this is much more dramatic. So I can take my tiling down a little bit more. There we go. You can see I'm just kind of wobbling this stuff out, which is what I want. It doesn't feel too bad. Alright. Do I have any controls here? Marble color. White. What about black? Okay, black's going pitch. What about 50-50? What about very saturated? What about the actual color that I want? It's too bright. There. Okay. So what are they giving us with this contrast here? Ooh. Okay, around there is good. Let's throw another filter on. You know, try to smooth it out just a little bit. I'm going to try one of these. I've never messed with them before. Histogram shift. I think I have two of the same thing. Position. Okay, well that's doing every layer, so hang on. Let's not do color. Give me a very strange result. I don't know what it's going to do, to be honest. I don't know what this is. I just thought it would be maybe interesting to get some kind of a weird effect. It's okay if it pixelates the crap out of it, because I was planning on doing the final filter of just a straight up blur. Like maybe even highly intense blur like that. Okay. Yeah, I like that. That's fine for now. I'm just gonna call this just gem main color. That's all I'm doing for that for now. And I'm gonna throw another layer on top of that. That is going to control everything else, and I pretty much want it glossy smooth as far as I know. I may or may not want a crack or a pit or something in it, but for now I think I'll keep it glossy smooth. Yeah, and again, I'm not sure about metallic, because it does give a kind of a nice feel to it when it is metallic, but like, if I look at the metallic channel, you're getting dangerously close to everything being metallic. So even if I took it down a little bit, I could do maybe some kind of interesting effect with the metallic of it to get some kind of a cool feel to it. Let's try that. So I'm going to actually turn metallic off on this one, and I'm going to make another layer. And I'm going to call this specifically metallic. So I'm just playing with this by itself, and this will affect nothing but metallic. And the metallic will actually be one of these maps. I don't know which one. We'll try them. Boom. And then we can do stuff to it, like levels. And that should be metallic. You can see that comes in now. Okay, so there's the effect. You can see right there when extended to pushed beyond what it should, but it could be blurred after the fact and warped. This map's fairly plain and boring. It just kind of separates us right there. That's it. So maybe curvature. Oh, can't do it like that. I gotta come back here. Levels will still apply, so I'll just hide it for now. It's getting flipper effed, so I'm just gonna kill it and do it again. See, we can kind of get this transition of it out to the side like that. It's very banded looking right now, but again can be warped and filtered. You see that's very hard edged right there. Something like that. Let's try thickness. Okay, I want to invert it. I want something like this. Again, when I fix the ID bake, it should repair most of that. So a slight bit of metallic out into the edges there. Everything else is very flat, however. So here, our roughness needs to be 0. Definitely not 0. But very low. And then I am going to do a roughness breakup. And this will only affect roughness and possibly height. So we'll just add a bitmap mask. Actually, no. Black mask. And then we'll add a fill. Okay. And then for the fill, we'll go to our procedurals. And I'll get rid of this name default. And there's a bunch that we could try. Like a bunch. So I'll go through a few of them, I guess. Let's try that one. Okay. Now the other thing we need to make sure that happens is when we go to roughness here, that this is actually set to screen. And then if we can mess with the balance here, you can see that we can start breaking up how glossy this surface is across the board. Contrast is down. I don't really like that one. That grunge. Is there any kind of like grunge for glass? Sand, plaster, marble veins. I don't know. And contrast is already off on it. I think there was one called wet. It's like wet spots, which sounds gross, but stains might be cool. Just little spots of that, but actually that should probably be inverted. I don't mind this one actually, so you know what, I'm going to add another fill. And I'll set this one to screen so that it adds on. And then we'll add another one. Multiply. There we go. Then we get a little bit of scratching in there. Not too much. I want to go crazy on that. I don't mind the drip spots. I'm gonna be honest, I kind of want to go ahead and throw that up on everything. If that's the case though, yeah, I think I'm going to start affecting everything now. I'm going to stop doing individually, which this is going to be like Topcoat. You know, and nothing's going to get masked up here. Certain things may or may not, but not in general. Alright, and also inside of Topcoat, I want to do dirt. And we'll add a black mask, generator, pick dirt, back to the material here, and I will pick mortar, wall. I do not believe I want any height on this. Alright, there we go. Let's get a little bit better. Alright, let's take a look at what we can do here for stuff. Contrast. Let's pull the contrast all the way down, the level way up. Let's pull the grunge amount out. There we go. And now we can tune that level back to about right there. Dirt, I actually want its base color to multiply with everything, so that I am darkening, which should have happened there. Okay, turn it off and on. As you can see here, if we go to base color, okay, we turn that off and on, and this is very pixely, so let's just go ahead and crank that up a little bit, so we get that. There we go, a little bit better. And base color sable. Okay. Alright, let me think. What else do I really want to do to it? Do I want like heavy grease? I do want one more layer of dirt, however. That needs to be screen. Contrast all the way up. Grunge amount high. At the level very low. Edge masking off. This is like a, well, you know what? No, edge masking on. This is like a, you know, a very top layer of dirt here, so it needs to be fairly light, so let's pull back just a little bit like so. That's cool. And then the last one I want is, this one's actually going to screen too, because I'm going to add one more. It's another dirt. This one, I'm going to alt page down so it goes down to the bottom. This one's going to be set to normal, and this one's going to have massive contrast. Like that. And just until I get that one little pop. There we go. Okay. So this is a very heavy, deep dirt. In fact, it's actually too heavy. I need to push it back. About there. Okay, a very lining type of dirt. And those three together are a pretty good combo in my opinion. This one could maybe have more contrast. And maybe some grunge. About there. Okay. Half tempted to One of the things I kind of wouldn't mind doing here would be the double normal, meaning an underlying normal map, but there's actually, it doesn't affect the specular. It only affects, you know, other, like the shading. So it looks like it's varnished over it, you know, but I can't actually simulate that here. I could attempt it in UE4. Okay, well, after, you know, a slight bit of adjusting on my part here and there, and swapping the project over to 4096 so we can see how it finally looks, I'm feeling like it's looking pretty cool. Not too shab. It's picking up some pretty cool little details here and there. Whether or not, you know, the little spots of wetness or whatnot are your cup of tea and all that is up to you, but in general, it ain't too bad. Let's take a look at the maps. Here's our roughness. You can see it's actually a fairly even roughness, mostly driven by the dirt. The gem maybe could be a little bit less rough overall, so let's actually adjust that here real quick. We'll add roughness on there and just pull that down. Okay, it's being adjusted here by my roughness breakup, which is actually set to linear dodge. So let me change this, I think, to overlay. And then I want it to, in general, this roughness, the water spots, I want them to be in general darker. So let me adjust this. So there's the roughness. Doesn't look too bad. Actually quite varied in tone here. Across the board here, you can see a lot of that dirt having a very dramatic impact on the roughness here. And let's take a look at height. Height's probably off, considering that I'm not going to use this at all. And this, I actually have baked that height texture, so we're going to ignore that one. Here's a base color. It's pretty even Steven. And there's metallic. Okay, remember I left a little bit of trim on the metallic coming around on the gem here just to accentuate some oddities here. You can see it gets pulled out of where all the ambient occlusion and the dirt is overlapping everything quite nicely. It's working pretty good in my opinion. Metallic looks pretty good. There's back to roughness, and then there's the whole package here. So I do still need to create the version that only has the tiles. So I'm not going to do that on camera because it's going to be easy, but I will explain what I'm going to do here right now. That is, I am going to, at the very top, create a new folder, and I'm going to call this guy Sunstone. And then I'm going to click, shift click, and then drag everything in there. Okay, and close that down. You can see we can officially hide it, and all 10 million gigabytes of whatever's going on here gets undone, and it should turn white. We will still see the normal map. However, I don't believe we'll see any of the height information anymore. And there we go. Alright, and then all you got to do is just right click, create smart material, and it creates a smart material based on that name of the folder. So now all I got to do is go and re-import my bake target, or start a new scene with that bake target, and bake the map based on the normal map and all that stuff based on just this piece alone, this piece of geometry by itself, without this stuff. And that's it, and then I'm done. And what I'll do then after that is I'll come in here, and everything that doesn't get used on the tiles, iron, gem, gold armor gets used, bronze armor, all this stuff in here. I'm just going to dump these entire folders and just be left with the trim, top coat, and all that stuff, and I should end up with the same general look of everything. In fact, it should probably even tile right up evenly. It in fact will tile right up evenly with this. It should be 1 for 1, so it's going to be the exact same material. It's just missing all of these pieces inside. It'll have a new ID map and everything that I'll have to reassign. That's it. So this is Hippo signing off. Hopefully you guys found this awesome. I think it's pretty fun and cool. So this is how you can bake multiple meshes down into a very, very usable format. So see you guys in the next one.